Have you ever wondered what really happens in a man's mind when you become his priority? Not what magazines or friends have told you, but what occurs in the depths of his psyche. The answer, according to Carl Jung, one of the most brilliant analytical psychologists of all time, might surprise you and forever transform the way you understand your relationships. Today, I'll talk to you about a truth few dare to explore, what a man really sees when he makes you his priority, based on Carl Jung's profound studies of the human psyche, a perspective that goes far beyond the superficial and touches the very core of our most intimate connections. Imagine for a moment that I could take you on a journey into the masculine mind, not to that superficial part we all know, but to the archetypal depths that Jung discovered throughout decades of research, to that place where universal patterns reside that determine how we love, how we connect, and above all, how we prioritize people in our lives. Jung discovered something fascinating. When a man genuinely makes you his priority, he's not simply choosing you as a physical person. What's really happening is a profound process of recognizing the anima, that feminine part that lives within every man and seeks its complement in the external world. This goes far beyond physical attraction or convenience. It's an almost alchemical process where the masculine unconscious recognizes in you something that resonates with his wholeness. Think about all those times you've wondered why a man acts a certain way, why he can suddenly seem distant or extremely close. Jung taught us that these fluctuations aren't capricious. They're the result of an inner dance between the conscious and unconscious, between the persona, that social mask we all wear, and the true self. When a man prioritizes you from this place of authenticity, what's really happening is that he has sufficiently integrated his shadow, those rejected parts of himself, to be able to see you clearly without distorted projections. And this, believe me, is revolutionary in a world where most relationships are built on idealized images that eventually crumble. The first notable change that occurs when a man makes you his priority is that he begins to see you as a complete being, not fragmented. Jung spoke of how we tend to fragment people, seeing only those parts that are comfortable for us or that fit our narrative. But when someone truly prioritizes you, they're willing to see you in your totality, with your light and your shadows, and still consciously choose you. Have you noticed that there are men who claim to prioritize you but disappear when you show your most vulnerable or less perfect aspects? According to Jung, this happens because they haven't sufficiently integrated their own shadow, those parts of themselves they reject, and that, inevitably, they project onto you when you manifest them. A man who has made you his priority from a healthy and conscious place doesn't run from your complexity. He embraces it. He sees your fears, your insecurities, and your less polished aspects not as flaws to correct, but as integral parts of who you are. And this is transformative because it allows you, perhaps for the first time, to be completely yourself without fear of rejection. Jung discovered that there exists in the masculine unconscious an archetypal image of the feminine that powerfully influences how a man perceives and relates to women. This image, the anima, when in harmony with the conscious mind, allows a man to see the real woman before him, not just the projection of his unconscious desires or fears. When a man makes you his priority from this integration, something extraordinary happens. He begins to see you as a mirror of his own wholeness. Not as someone who must complete him, that would be codependency, but as someone who reflects both his light and his darkness, allowing him to know himself more deeply through his relationship with you. This is the difference between being an object of desire and being a priority. The object of desire exists to satisfy a need. The priority exists as an independent being with whom a deep connection is established. And this distinction is crucial to understanding what really happens when a man elevates you to that special place in his life. Think about it. How many times have you been in relationships where you felt the other person valued you only for what you could offer them, for how you made them feel, for what you represented to others? According to Jung, These are relationships where the unconscious is dominating the dynamic, where projections are the order of the day, and where, inevitably, disillusionment will occur when reality doesn't match the projected image. In contrast, when a man makes you his priority from consciousness, from that integration between his persona and his shadow, he sees you as an autonomous being, with your own path and purpose. He doesn't idealize you to the point of not being able to see your human aspects, nor does he demonize you when those aspects emerge. He accepts you in your fullness, and that acceptance creates a safe space where both can grow. Jung spoke of individuation as the process of becoming who you really are, integrating all parts of yourself. A man who genuinely prioritizes you has not only advanced in his own individuation process, but also respects and supports yours. He doesn't want you static, frozen in a version that is comfortable for him. He wants you in movement, evolving, constantly discovering new facets of yourself. This manifests in very concrete ways. For example, a man who has made you his priority from this Jungian place doesn't compete with you. He celebrates your achievements without feeling threatened. He doesn't try to control you, because he understands that controlling you would limit precisely what he values most about you, your authenticity and freedom. He doesn't manipulate you emotionally, because he has learned to manage his own emotions without projecting them onto you. It's important to understand that this type of prioritization doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of deep inner work, of confronting one's own shadows and integrating rejected aspects of oneself. That's why Jung insisted that the deepest and most satisfying relationships occur between people who have done this inner work, who have advanced in their individuation process. And what happens when a man hasn't done this work? According to Jung, he will tend to project his own internal conflicts onto you. If he rejects his vulnerability, for example, he'll react negatively when you show yours. If he has a conflictive relationship with his mother, he'll project aspects of that relationship onto you. If he hasn't integrated his anima, he'll idealize you first and demonize you later, when you don't fulfill that idealized image. This explains why so many relationships follow destructive cyclical patterns. It's not that people are inherently toxic, it's that they're trapped in unconscious dynamics that haven't been illuminated by consciousness. Jung said that what is not made conscious manifests in our lives as fate, and in the realm of relationships, that fate is usually the repetition of painful patterns. In contrast, when a man has illuminated these unconscious dynamics, when he has sufficiently integrated his shadow and his anima, he can see you more clearly and, therefore, prioritize you from a more authentic and healthy place. He no longer seeks in you his mother, his savior, or the projection of his idealized anima. He seeks you in your uniqueness, in your complexity, in your humanity. This translates into a way of relating that Jung would describe as conscious and balanced. It's not the absorbing fusion of infatuation, where the boundaries of the self are diluted and projections are at their peak. Nor is it the distant coldness of one who fears intimacy. It's a connection that respects the individuality of both while creating a shared space where both can be authentic. When a man sees you this way, when he makes you his priority from this place of consciousness, something transformative happens. The relationship becomes a vehicle for mutual growth. Jung spoke of how deep relationships confront us with parts of ourselves that would otherwise remain in shadow. By being seen and accepted in your totality, you have the opportunity to integrate aspects of yourself that perhaps you've rejected, and this is where the power of being prioritized fully manifests. It's not just about receiving attention or care, but about being seen in your essence, being valued for who you really are, not for who the other needs you to be. This creates an energetic field where authenticity flourishes, where you no longer need masks or strategies to be loved. How can you know if a man is prioritizing you from this Jungian place? There are revealing signs. For example, he's not only present in the easy moments, but also in the difficult ones. He not only celebrates your strengths but embraces your vulnerabilities. He doesn't try to mold you according to his expectations, but shows curiosity to discover who you really are. Additionally, a man who prioritizes you from consciousness shows coherence between his words and actions. He doesn't say one thing and do another, because he has sufficiently integrated his internal contradictions to manifest himself in a more unified way in the world. This coherence gives you the security that his prioritization isn't momentary or conditional, but emerges from a stable place within him. You'll also notice that he doesn't need to abandon other important areas of his life to prioritize you. Jung spoke of the importance of balance, of not sacrificing essential aspects of oneself on the altar of a relationship. A man who prioritizes you in a healthy way maintains his friendships, his interests, his work, his connection with himself, while giving you a special place in his life. He doesn't fall into the fusion that eventually leads to resentment. This is crucial, because it demonstrates that his prioritization doesn't come from a place of lack or desperation, but from a conscious choice. He chooses you among all people and possibilities, not because he needs you to complete himself, but because he deeply values the unique connection you've created. Jung taught us that the most transformative relationships are those in which both parties help each other in their individuation process, in their journey toward wholeness. When a man prioritizes you from this understanding, he's not just giving you a special place in his life, he's recognizing your role in his own journey of self-knowledge and growth. And here is where the Jungian vision of relationships becomes truly revolutionary. Because it's not just about finding someone who treats you well, who gives you gifts or spends time with you, although all that is important. It's about finding someone who sees your potential, who honors your process, who celebrates your evolution even when it challenges him. A man who prioritizes you from this deep place sees in you not only who you are now, but who you can become. He sees your potentialities, your unique gifts, your particular light, and more importantly, he's willing to accompany you in the process of manifesting that light, even when that implies changes in the relationship. Jung understood that true relationships aren't static. They evolve as the people involved evolve. A man who genuinely prioritizes you understands this and doesn't try to keep you in a frozen version of yourself that is comfortable or familiar to him. He gives you the space to transform, to explore new facets, to question and reinvent yourself. This manifests in how he reacts to your changes. Does he support you when you decide to embark on a new path? Does he listen when you question beliefs you previously shared? Does he celebrate when you discover new passions or interests, even if he doesn't share them? If so, you're dealing with someone who prioritizes you from a deep understanding of what it means to truly love another human being. Of course, this doesn't mean the relationship is exempt from challenges. Jung pointed out that precisely because deep relationships confront us with our shadow, conflicts will inevitably arise. The difference lies in how those conflicts are approached. A man who prioritizes you from consciousness sees them as opportunities for greater understanding and growth, not as threats to avoid or win. In difficult moments, when disagreements or hurts arise, is when it truly reveals if you are an authentic priority. Is he willing to do the difficult work of looking at his own reactions and patterns? Can he maintain respect and consideration for you, even in the midst of conflict? Does he seek to understand your perspective instead of simply imposing his own? Jung would speak of these moments as opportunities for the relational shadow, those parts of ourselves that only emerge in intimacy with another. A man who genuinely prioritizes you accepts the invitation to this deeper work, understanding that in doing so, he's not only nurturing the relationship, but also advancing on his own path of individuation. There's another fascinating aspect that Jung would highlight. When a man makes you his priority from this conscious place, he not only sees you differently, he sees himself differently through his relationship with you. You become a mirror that shows him both his light and his shadow, that helps him recognize aspects of himself that would otherwise remain hidden. This is the true alchemy of a deep relationship. Both of you transform in the process. It's not just that he gives you a special place in his life, it's that through that prioritization, both of you discover and manifest new dimensions of yourselves. It's a dance of mutual recognition, of mirrors reflecting ever deeper truths, and it's important to emphasize that this type of prioritization has nothing to do with dependence or fusion. In fact, Jung warned against losing oneself in the other, pointing out that the healthiest relationships are those where both maintain their individuality while creating a shared space. A man who prioritizes you in a healthy way doesn't seek to absorb or control you. He seeks to dance with you, maintaining the delicate balance between closeness and autonomy. This is reflected in how he handles spaces within the relationship. Does he respect your alone time, your friendships, your personal interests? Does he understand that for the relationship to flourish, both of you need to nourish yourselves individually? If so, you're dealing with someone who has understood one of the fundamental paradoxes of love, that to be truly together, both must be completely yourselves. Jung would also tell us how, in a relationship where you are genuinely prioritized, communication acquires an almost sacred dimension. It's not just an exchange of information or the negotiation of practical needs. It's a bridge between two inner worlds, a space where both the conscious and the unconscious find expression. A man who prioritizes you from this understanding doesn't just listen to your words. He listens to what's behind them. He's attentive to your nonverbal language, to your silences, to what you express without knowing it. He doesn't use communication as a weapon or a tool for manipulation, but as a means to know you more deeply and let himself be known by you. This form of communication creates a field of intimacy where both can be vulnerable without fear of judgment or rejection. And it's in this field where true connection flourishes, where social masks are set aside and authenticity emerges. Jung would say that it's here, in this space of shared truth, where we truly experience what it means to be human in relation to another. Another powerful indicator that you are an authentic priority is how a man handles conflicts of needs or desires. In every relationship, there are moments when what you want and what he wants don't coincide. The way he navigates these situations reveals a lot about the place you occupy in his scale of priorities. A man who prioritizes you from consciousness doesn't always yield to your desires. That would be compliance, not prioritization, but he always takes them into consideration. He seeks solutions that respect the needs of both, understanding that a healthy relationship isn't about winning or losing, but about finding a path that honors both parties. Jung taught us that the ego seeks to win, while the self seeks wholeness. A man who operates from his self, not just from his ego, sees conflicts not as competitions to win, but as opportunities to find solutions that integrate the needs and truths of both. It's not about one sacrificing for the other, but about creating together a third path that honors both. It's fascinating how this manifests in decisions big and small. From choosing a movie to deciding where to live, the way a man integrates your preferences and needs into the process speaks volumes about whether you are truly a priority. It's not about you always getting your way, but about your desires being considered with the same weight as his. Jung would also highlight another fundamental aspect. A man who genuinely prioritizes you not only sees your present, he honors your past and commits to your future. He understands that you are the result of all your experiences, good and bad, and doesn't try to erase or ignore parts of your history that are uncomfortable for him. At the same time, he has a vision of the future that includes you in a central way, not peripheral. His plans and dreams consider you not as an appendage, but as an essential part of the life he imagines. He doesn't plan without consulting you. He doesn't make decisions that affect both without including you in the process. This temporal consideration of past, present, and future creates a sense of continuity and security. You know you're not a passing chapter in his life, but a central narrative that interweaves with his. This sense of permanence in his life story is one of the most powerful indicators that you are truly a priority. Of course, Jung would remind us that even in the best relationships, there are moments of disconnection, misunderstandings, or mistakes. The difference lies in how these moments are handled. A man who prioritizes you from a deep place doesn't punish you with prolonged silences, doesn't use your vulnerabilities against you, doesn't threaten the relationship every time a conflict arises. Instead, he commits to repair, to reconnect, to restore the bridge between you. He takes responsibility for his mistakes, offers genuine apologies when necessary, and, most importantly, changes the behaviors that have hurt you. This availability for repair is perhaps one of the clearest indicators that you occupy a priority place in his heart and in his life. Jung understood that deep relationships require a particular type of courage, the courage to be completely seen by another human being. A man who genuinely prioritizes you offers you that safe space where you can reveal all your facets, knowing they will be received with love and acceptance. It's not that he never judges, we all do, but that he maintains an open curiosity about who you are, always recognizing that there is more to you than he can see or understand. This humility before the mystery that you are is an unmistakable sign of respect and authentic prioritization. We're coming to the end of this journey through the masculine psyche through the Jungian lens, and I want to leave you with a powerful reflection. Being someone's priority isn't just about receiving time, attention, or resources. It's fundamentally about being seen, recognized, and valued in your totality. When a man makes you his priority from this deep place that Jung describes, what's really happening is an act of mutual recognition. He sees you not only as you are, but as you can be. He sees your light and your shadow, your strengths and vulnerabilities, your past and your potential future. And in that act of seeing you completely, he offers you one of the most precious gifts one human being can give to another: the gift of being truly known. This is the true meaning of being a priority. It's not that someone adjusts their schedule to include you, it's that someone adjusts their perception to truly see you. And when you are seen this way, when you are prioritized from this place of consciousness and wholeness, not only does the relationship flourish, you flourish within it. Jung said that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. When a man makes you his priority from this deep understanding, both of you transform in the process, becoming more integrated, more conscious, and fuller versions of yourselves. I invite you to reflect on the relationships in your life. Do you feel truly seen and prioritized in this way? Or are you settling for less, for a superficial version of prioritization that doesn't honor your wholeness? You deserve to be seen, valued, and loved in your complexity, not despite it. And according to Jung, when you find someone who sees you this way, you've found not just a partner, but an ally in your journey toward individuation. If this message has resonated with you, take a moment to share it with someone you think might need to hear it. Each person who awakens to these deeper truths about relationships contributes to elevating the collective consciousness about what it truly means to love and be loved. Leave me a comment about which aspect of this Jungian perspective on prioritization has impacted you most deeply. Your voice is important, and your experiences can illuminate the path for others who are seeking this type of deep connection. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for more explorations of the human psyche through the wisdom of Carl Jung and other thinkers who have illuminated the path of self-knowledge and authentic relationships. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any content that could transform your way of understanding relationships and, above all, your relationship with yourself. Remember, you deserve to be prioritized, not as an idea or a projection, but as the complex, evolving, and wonderful being you truly are. And according to Jung, when you find someone who sees you this way, you've found something truly precious. Thank you for joining me in this exploration. See you in the next video. May Jung's wisdom accompany you as you navigate the fascinating world of human relationships, always remembering that true love begins with deep knowledge, both of the other and of oneself. Until next time.